Hello, Lisa here. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my February and March favorites video because I never made one last month. Things just got a little crazy. We had things going on and next thing you know, it was like mid-March and I'm like, I'll do them together. So this is going to be all of my recaps for February and March, which means it's probably not going to be super short. So grab something to drink, a snack, hang out with me, and we're going to dive right in. So I'm just going to pick a category. I'm probably just going to go through them in some kind of rando order as usual. I'm going to start with random because I have a few things I want to talk about. So in February, I had actually wanted to talk about my pillowy sleep mask that I made for myself. So it looks like this and it has like Velcro and I sewed it. Maybe I already talked about it. I can't remember, but I did put it on my list to talk about today. So, or with my February favorites. The thing about this is it was fantastic. It feels like a pillow that you wrap around your eyes. It looks really bulky, but it's super cozy. The only downside was when I washed it, as happens with batting, it just got really lumpy. It was still fine, but so it still was a favorite in February, but by March I was like, it's kind of lumpy. So I made new ones. So those are now my favorite. They're my March favorite though, because I just made them recently. So my new ones, I sort of revamped the design a little bit. So these look like this. They're super giant. I could probably make it a little bit shorter. I'm not going to put it on my eyes completely because I got makeup on, but you can get the idea. This wraps all the way around. It's still super, super soft, only this time instead of the loose batting, I used quilt batting, like a thick cotton one, and I put 2 layers in. So it's still super soft and cozy. There's no hard spots. It, like, the whole thing feels soft. I sewed it myself, you guys. This was my most consistent project I've ever sewn. And I made 2 of them though, so that I could cycle them in and out of the wash. And they are basically identical. They look so consistent. I'm so proud of myself. So I made 2 and I've been sleeping with them every night and I really, really like them. So I'm gonna put my clean one back in the drawer. There we go. But yeah, I'm loving these. Now I like sleep masks. I kind of cycle in and out of using them, but I find that if I'm having trouble sleeping consistently, that putting something like this on, I don't know what it does, honestly, because I feel like I can sleep in a really dark room and have the same effect. I don't know if it's the pressure on my face that I like, but it just helps me sleep so much more soundly and so much better, and I fall asleep much faster. So that never used to be an issue for me, but as I've gotten older, I've noticed that sometimes I do have a little bit of mild, very mild insomnia. Occasionally I'll get a really bad bout of it, but this definitely helps. I love these. So this one I'm probably going to be retiring because this is so much better. And washing it won't get, it won't bunch or get lumpy because it's actually, I've sewn it down just like you would in a quilt in a couple of spots so that the batting won't shift or anything. So yeah, loving these. Let's see, other random stuff. Oh, we got a soda stream. So I can't show it to you because, well, I could have, but it's gigantic. John, our eldest, had a birthday, and for his birthday, he gave us a soda stream. I don't know how that worked out, but it was pretty amazing. We've been making a lot of homemade sodas. I've been really enjoying making carbonated water and putting a little bit of like diet ginger ale syrup in it, just a little bit, and then mixing that with like peach or orange juice. It's like so good. So I've been loving that. I had to mention it. And what else did I have in my random section? Oh, yes, that's right. I got a set of runes that I want to talk about. So in our tarot community, Science to Soul Tarot with Jen had made a video. She'd made some homemade runes and she said she would offer some up if anybody wanted to buy them from her. And she mentioned that she had a coffee tree that she could cut runes from, and I thought that was the coolest thing. And she was making these teeny tiny ones as one of the size options. So I ordered some from her, and I just think, oh, I'm trying to figure out how to hold it. There we go. They're so cute. The whole set, I don't know if I've talked about them before. I may have mentioned them already, but the whole set fits in this really cute little pouch. Oh, this is one that a friend sent me. I'm pretty sure I've shown this already, but I can't help myself. It was definitely a favorite. I've been using these all through March. You can kind of see they all fit like in my hands. I know the camera's a little blurry, but I love these. So these were definitely a favorite. I wanted to mention those. I didn't know what category to put those in besides random. And what else did I write down? Oh, and the only other thing I think in random, yeah, I'll put that other one in crystals. Okay, so yeah, so I think that's about it, except, there was something else. I wrote it down. Oh, yeah, I'm such a squirrel. World of Warcraft. So Peggy and I have been playing some World of Warcraft. It's been a really great self-care thing for me lately with all the stress going on in current events, because I feel like it's something that lets me sort of tune out but also do something. It feels and it's not physically active, but it's mentally active, so it's just been really a really good thing for me to do, like especially at night before I go to sleep. It's been helping me to just kind of unwind a lot better at the end of the day, so I've been really enjoying that. Okay, next category. Let's talk about YouTube. I've got a few YouTube shout outs I want to do. I will try to remember to have links down below, or I will have links in the cards or wherever it makes sense to, but there's a bunch of things I wanted to talk about. So in February, I did my 4th Auntie haul. I'm really excited to have gotten that out into the world. Those tend to take a bit of time to put together, so I was really excited that got out there. I also did a really fun collaborative video. It was a live stream with Richard at Tarot Oracle. We talked about our top decks of all time, which was a lot of pressure because there's been a lot of really amazing decks, and I think we managed to not double up on anything, which was super fun. Other shout outs I wanted to give, a few things that have really stood out to me lately, or just channels I find myself regularly enjoying that I just want to mention. So first of all, Lennon, I believe her channel is called Lennon Smith. Just Lennon Smith, unless she's changed the name. She's got a bunch of amazing content. I love her vibe. She puts a lot of like meaty content out, but she did a really great video on the Kabbalah and tarot that I absolutely loved. It was so good. I watched it twice and I've still got it saved so that I can refer back to it, because I think she made the Kabbalah not seem so overwhelming. So that video, outstanding, but in general, I've been enjoying her channel. Casper over at Boy Diviner often makes very thoughtful content videos, but also I just find him a very calming to watch. So if I just want to like bring it down a notch and just like relax, I really like watching Casper's channel. I also wanted to mention Ethany. So Ethany is, I'm sure you know who Ethany is, but if not, check her channel out. She is in the process of launching 4 new decks, so go check those out. There's one called Modern Love that I'm keeping a very close eye on. She's also got a new edition of the Awakened Soul Oracle, which I have and love, and a Modern Goddess Oracle, and a Modern Muses or something Muses deck as well. But there's 4 decks. She's got pre-orders up for I think all of them. So check that out, check her channel out. She does Witch's Moon unboxing, she does deck walkthroughs every Friday, she does readings on Wednesdays, love her stuff. And I also wanted to mention Danny of Danny Mystic has done I want to say it's 2-part. I think it's a 2-part video. I know I watched the first part in February and I think the second part came out in March, but she did a video, a couple of videos on toilet paper roll magic, which I just feel like I had written this down last month, but given what's happening around toilet paper lately, I think it would be extra fun to go check those out. So check them out. It was a really fun, cool way to do a little bit of magic, and it's the kind of magical workings that I like to do. So I am definitely going to be doing that. I've been saving some toilet paper rolls for that purpose. Check it out, super cool. And Dustin, if you don't know, has been doing his Tarot Deep Dive series. So every 2 to 3 weekends or so, he'll do right now it's on Sundays, but I know that schedule is going to be changing at some point. But he does a very deep dive into the history and the symbology card by card through the major arcana. Hopefully someday we'll convince him to do the minors too, but he is doing an amazing job, and he has accompanying blog posts. He gives you a ton of information, but it's all very approachable and easy to watch, plus it's fun to hang out. So I've been really enjoying those. And I also wanted to shout out the hashtag Be Kind that Lupa Moon started. I've been really enjoying watching those videos. I really enjoyed doing that tag. I will link my response up in the cards if I think of it, and I will have a link to Lupa Moon's channel and all these channels I mentioned down below if I haven't put them up here. We'll see. I always figure that part out in editing, but if you ever hear me talk about something that's not linked somewhere, let me know. I will always be happy to grab you a link for anything I've talked about. Let's talk about food. I don't have a whole lot, but I have been really enjoying our weekly, we get a meal kit delivery service. Right now we're only getting like 2 meals a week, and we're mostly keeping them as a bit of a morale boost, fun, get to try new recipes kind of thing. I have talked about doing a video recapping our experiences with all the meal kit delivery services. I have all the clips, I just need to have the time to like sit down and really put it together. I will try to get to that soon. We tried HelloFresh Fresh Prep, which is a Vancouver based company. Good Food, which is a Canadian-based company, Chef's Plate, and Yum, which is another Canadian one, I think. So we tried like 5 or 6 of these different services and settled on the one that we really like. I'll try to remember to get that video up, but I've been really, really loving it. Also, I've been really enjoying drinking lemon balm tea. So I found out about some of the benefits of lemon balm watching one of Dustin, Modern Metaphysic Man's videos about herbs that are supportive of our immune system. I think it was immune support or antiviral support or something like that. I'm not an expert. What caught my attention about lemon balm though is that it says on the box, traditionally used as herbal medicine as a sleep aid in cases of restlessness or insomnia due to mental stress. That sounds helpful. And traditionally used in herbal medicine to help relieve digestive disturbance such as dyspepsia. But I also read some articles that said it was really good for any kind of anxiety, and it's been a stressful time lately, so I've been really enjoying this, and it also tastes delicious. I just have this with a little teeny bit of honey or a little bit of raw natural sugar, something like that, and it's been like perfect. It's been a really good like evening tea. I've been really liking that one. Other foods that I wrote down. Okay, so I went to have a really amazing sushi lunch with my son John. In February, we went to this really fancy place and it was freaking delicious. And I had in February also a little bit of my very favorite chocolate, which is from Purdy's. It's a Canadian chocolate company, and they have a chocolate that is a raspberry balsamic. I've talked about it before. It's so good. It's so good. It's my favorite chocolate I've ever had in my whole life. It's like the thing I think about sometimes when I'm craving chocolate, like so good. So I got some more of that. Very excited about it. And the last thing I discovered was I think it was in March. In fact, I think it was at a Starbucks in the US. I was reminded of the Snickerdoodle latte. I feel like I may have talked about these in the past. It's like one of those secret Starbucks drinks where it's not really on the menu, but like it's basically a white mocha. But instead of like, I think whatever size, you do half white mocha and the other half you do cinnamon dolce syrup, and it tastes like a Snickerdoodle. And if you don't know what a Snickerdoodle is, it's like a sugar cookie with cinnamon sugar on it. And I know it sounds really simple, but I miss Snickerdoodles and they're hard to find up here. I don't see them very often. And this drink is perfect. Now keep in mind my standard drink at Starbucks is a cinnamon dolce latte. It's what I make at home when I make lattes at home. So that's my favorite flavor profile anyway. But the white mocha cinnamon dolce combo is like, oh, it's so good. I've had it in a Frappuccino. I've had it in a latte. I've had it iced. It's delicious. It's delicious. I'm not really going to Starbucks right now because the world is crazy, but it is really good. And if you have white mocha syrup at home, you could make your own really easy, assuming you make fancy lattes at home. Or you could just get creamer flavors, right? You could like play with like a half white mocha creamer flavor if you have such a thing, and half cinnamon, or like, you know, you get the idea. You could play with this flavor combo is all I'm saying, because it's delicious. Beauty and skincare kind of things that I want to, well, I guess I don't have any skincare to show, but I do have a few beauty things, because look at my face, y'all. I was playing with makeup today. This is not a look I would normally wear outside of the house. I'm just saying. I'm still getting used to it, but I'm really digging it. So I had to talk about what I'm wearing on my face and some other favorite things. So my eyeshadow today is from this beautiful, gorgeous, ridiculous palette. This is the most ridiculous piece of makeup I've ever bought in my whole life. And it makes me so dang happy. It's ridiculous though. Like, first of all, it's giant, it's heavy, it's so over the top, and it is in every way exactly like Jeffree Star. But anyway, it's got this clasp, bloop, and inside you have your eyeshadows. I did my look today with, let's see, I used this color Deviant up here, which is like a lavender. I used this color here, which is like a pastel, bright pastel, vivid mood. And then I used Betrayal on the outer third of my eyes, and then I used Pink Magic, which is this hard to describe, very glittery shade on like the inner third. That was basically what I did. I think I used a little bit of this Your Majesty color here just as a base, but anyway, it's probably a lot of information you didn't need, but it's really fun. The colors are really vivid, really bright, super. I love purples though. And then the lipstick I got to try and play with, which I am wearing today, is this one. This was not from that collection, but this is called You Better Work, and it's a liquid lip. But what really makes this whole thing, I think, amazing is this. So this is a lip gloss that did come out with the blood. Oh, I didn't say what this was called. This is the Bloodlust palette. If you follow makeup, you'll probably know. But if you don't follow makeup, that's what it's called. It's called the Bloodlust palette. Look at that metal, like metal crown. It's ridiculous. This is ridiculous. This is gaudy and ridiculous, but I love it. This lip gloss, though, is called... Oh man, I can't do this. My eyeballs. Nope. I can't. Oh my gosh, I'm so old now. I can't see it. It's real pretty though. It's like a pink gloss, but it has this like shiny blue. I put it on top. I'm wearing both of these today, and I'm kind of in love with the way my lips look, even though this is crazy vivid and not like I would normally wear, but I love it. Other makeup things I've been loving. I got this Becca, Chloe, and Malika palette. Sorry, it's a little smudgy because I've been using it. But it is a face palette, and it has 2 blushes, a bronzer, and a highlight. This is so pretty. This is what I took with me to Northwest Tarot Symposium in my makeup bag, because it's like got everything you need for your face basically, other than like foundation and stuff. Love this. It's so pretty, and it's very much light colors, and I'm a very light-skinned person. So like for example, I wouldn't have this like bright blush thing going on with this palette. This one looks a lot more natural. I'm wearing a different blush today that I'm low-key regretting. But anyway, this is really beautiful. I'm really glad I got it on a discount for like, I think like $15. It's normally much more than that, but I really love it. I got it through the BoxyCharm add-on shop in February, and I really love it. And last but not least in the makeup section, and then I'll move on to other things, I swear. I'll try to remember to have, will I actually do timestamps? Probably not. I'm probably too lazy for timestamps. I'm sorry. But feel free to skip ahead. The other thing I wanted to talk about is I have a sort of Franken palette. All of these square pans you see here are Makeup Geek's new eyeshadows, and I'm loving all of them. So the green eyeshadow look I was wearing recently was these 3 shades here. There's a bunch of purples, I have some peaches, a lot of neutrals, and this is just basically almost any look that I would typically do, I can do out of this palette. So this is really nice, and I love the eyeshadows. They're super pigmented. I keep them in this magnetic Tarte palette that I got ages ago for like 20 bucks, and it's really nice. It's got like a really nice sturdy cover. Anyway, that's all the makeup stuff I have to talk about. I'll stop now, I promise. I don't know if I'm just probably too lazy to put this stuff in a separate video. So whenever I get to this section, if you hate it, just skip it. It's all good. What else do I have in my categories? Okay, so I talked about food. Oh, crystals. Let's talk about crystals. So I've got a few things to share. This is going to be kind of crystals and magic kind of stuff all rolled into one, because I only have a few things to talk about. So favorite things, magically, when I went down to the Northwest Tarot Symposium, which is one of the memories I was going to mention, was Northwest Tarot Symposium was amazing. Where's my badge? Here it is. So I got to present at Northwest Tarot Symposium. I did a talk on tarot for walking the self-worth path. Now by this time you see this favorites video, that video should be on my channel, because I was going to, I'm filming this on Friday. It's probably going up next week. But this weekend I will have done my presentation on my channel. So that'll be in, you can find it. I'll link it or something. But I'm going to share my presentation with you guys because why not? So I really enjoyed being a presenter. It was super fun. It was the last like adventure I had before all of this coronavirus stuff started getting a little bit insane. And in hindsight, it was kind of on the edge of comfort zone for all of that. But anyway, on the way there, especially in light of things just starting to kind of feel a little funny travel-wise, I did a bunch of magic around safe travel. A lot of that was super private, but one of the things that I do like to do is one of my Making Magic cards, which I didn't bring with me, but they're the little black mini deck. I've got a walkthrough of Making Magic on my channel, but there's one for safe travel. I like to tuck that into my wallet over top of my driver's license, so it's what I see every time I open my wallet. So I charged that and brought that with me. For my actual talk at Newt's, I had made and charged this little wearable. So this is one of these macrame net kind of necklaces where you can put your own crystals in. There's no metal on this, which is why I have this type. And in here I have a small piece of tourmaline and a small piece of tiger's eye. And I essentially charged these for protection and confidence for my talk and for my trip to Newts. And this was just a great comfort during that whole weekend. It really supported me, and during my talk I did wear it, and it was really, really helpful to have. Another crystal I've been really enjoying is this Dalmatian, I think I said Dalmatian, Dalmatian jasper that I got in my Witches Roots box in February. This has just got a very sort of calming and gentle energy to it. It feels like a combination of grounding and soothing, and I've really, really been enjoying that. And lastly, and most recently, I was recently surprised in a package from a friend who made me this absolutely stunning amulet. So this is brown jade, and then the beads are tiger's eye, and then these are a type of horn bead. And then there's this sweet little dragon right here, and a little bit of carnelian with him. And this whole thing was made like to support me, and I just, it's so completely touching. I've corresponded with my friend Deb about this a couple of times, and I'm absolutely blown away. So this has been charging on my reading table, but I've never had an amulet, like I've never had something like this, and it just feels incredibly potent. It feels very strong. The colors and the stones and the correspondences she used do feel very like combination fiery and earthy, very strong and steady, but uplifting. So it's been really, really nice to have this. I'm gonna be working with this some more, but right now it's definitely charging on one of my sacred space areas. And yeah, it's definitely one of those sort of treasures that there's something about when somebody hand makes you something, and it just, yeah, I've got this, and my prayer beads that have been made by my friend Erica are definitely topping the list for like my favorite things ever, pretty much. So let's talk about decks, and I'll save books for last because I have several to talk about, and if you're not in the mood for books, then you're gonna wanna probably not have to stick around for that. The first deck I want to talk about, I worked with a bunch in February, and that is the absolutely stunning Mythical Creatures Tarot by Baba Studio. I did not want to put this deck away. I still don't feel like I got even enough time with it. It was so, so beautiful to work with. It's an absolutely breathtaking deck. I love it. It's a joy to use. It's probably, I've said other decks are I'm stumbling over my words because I really, 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 really love this one. There's this combination of sort of the mythical creatures theming with this absolutely stunning artwork and all the gold foiling. Or multicolored cold stamping that's on these cards. They're stunning. They're absolutely stunning. Oh, this Queen of Coins is the Dryad. I love them so, so much. And they're a treasure. They're an absolute treasure. The other pip deck well, there's a couple that stole my heart because I've been working with pretty much only Marseille or pip decks. There's two others that I want to talk about. The other one is the Tarot Sirene by the Wandering Oracle. I love this deck too. I'm sure you can tell that I have a bit of an aesthetic, and when it comes to working with pips or working with Marseille, having a deck that's themed and really catches like my imagination, captures my imagination, I guess is the right word to use. It just really makes working with Marseille so much more exciting for me, and working with pip decks so much more exciting. And can we talk about these like holographic backs? Yeah, they're everything. So I really, really love this one. And the third one that I fell in love with over the past couple of months is the Inspirational Tarot by Rachel Farabaugh. I just talked about this in my weekly deck review this past weekend. Well, at the time you're watching this, it will have been this past weekend. It's absolutely gorgeous. Again, what is it with these like flashy backs? I don't know why I love these so much, but there have been flashy backs I haven't liked. So I don't know what it is, but I freaking love this deck. The colors are everything. The guidebook is absolutely incredible. It is so, so good. It is such a supportive and loving deck. It's got a very neutral feel, so it doesn't lean in any particular direction, so you can read numerologically with the pips, you can read them as Marseille pips, and I feel like the way that they're illustrated lets you do either of those things. And there will be little nods to either Rider-Waite-Smith or to Marseille or to pip, like numerological, I mean. It'll either be a nod to Rider-Waite-Smith or a nod to numerological meanings, or both in the minor arcana. And I think some people just don't like pip decks, and I completely get it because I used to be on that camp, but this one just has done pips very, very well, and it makes them incredibly readable, particularly if you're the type of person to want to read your pips by memory of Rider-Waite-Smith meanings. This one would really support you in that effort. Or if you like to read them numerologically, this would also really support you in that effort. It's a beautiful deck. I really want to edge it in black, but I haven't had a lot of time for deck mods lately, so I'll hopefully get to do that soon, but haven't done it just yet. And that, my friends, brings me to books. So that's it for decks. I've been doing a lot of reading. Like a lot of reading. So for starters, on my Kindle, I read Throne of Glass, and I'm gonna just talk about everything I read in February and March. Throne of Glass was so good. I absolutely loved it. I cannot wait to read the rest of the books in the series, which I already have on my Kindle, but I've been trying to prioritize reading my print books, my paper books first, because I have been. So I first read All the Stars and Teeth by Adeline Grace. This was my February Owl Crate box. If you don't know what Owl Crate is, it is a monthly subscription box where every month you get a young adult fiction book, as well as a bunch of other goodies. This book, you guys, was so good. I read it so fast. I absolutely loved it. I'm so excited that this was my very first Owl Crate book because it was really good. You do get like a letter from the author with every month's box, and the edition that you get in the Owl Crate is a special cover, and it is signed by the author. And this was so good. The character development in here is really good. I got very invested in the primary character from the very beginning. The pace was really good, the magical system was really interesting, and the way that politics and magic were intermingled in this book just kind of really created a very immersive world, and I loved it so much. So that is All the Stars and Teeth by Adeline Grace. It's a YA fantasy fiction book. When I finished that, I was like, okay, well, I've read Throne of Glass and I've read my February Owl Crate, so now what do I do? And so I've read, I think I actually might have read this in March, because I got this near the end of February. So I think I read this in March. I think I read Throne of Glass in February. Yes, I read Throne of Glass in February. I read this at the beginning of March. And then I jumped right into The Fortune Teller, which is by Gwendolyn Womack. Now this I got off of the trade table at the Northwest Tarot Symposium in 2019, and I hadn't read it yet. And this was really good. I thoroughly enjoyed this. If you enjoy reading fiction at all and you're into tarot, this is the most fun, amazing crossover novel ever. It weaves in real tarot history with a fictional story. So in a lot of ways, to me, it feels very Da Vinci Code-like in its in the way that the story is woven, and it's one of those cross timelines things where you jump between a current timeline and a past timeline, but in that jumping back and forth, you end up learning quite a lot about real tarot history. Now, I wouldn't say this is the way to learn real tarot history, but if you're familiar with the origins of tarot, this makes that such a memorable process, because you'll be able to draw the mental links between what you know of tarot's history and how the history plays into the story. This is so good, and I'm so glad I picked it up. The copy that I got from the trade table is signed, I discovered, by the author. So that's amazing, and I will definitely be reading it again. It's really good. If you love tarot, you like fiction, read The Fortune Teller. It was a really fun read. And then the other book that I read in March was A Secret History of Witches. I actually bought this at Powell Books in 2019 when I was in Portland. This one, it was interesting. It talks about, it sort of is a fictional story around a lineage of witches, starting back in, I want to say Romani culture, but I don't know, I'm not saying it right. But it starts back then, and it kind of takes you through matriarch, how do you say it when it's a woman's line, a mother-daughter line of witches. It was good. It's not that it was bad, but it had a very unsatisfying ending to me, and there were definitely parts of the book that I felt like were a little bit slow for me to read through. Mostly though, I feel like there was never like a peak I suppose there were a couple peaks of action that happened in this story. But it's almost like a bunch of stories that are sort of connected together. And some of those stories I felt like were more gripping than others. So even though each one informed the next, there's a lineage that you're sort of moving through, it left me wanting something more, and I'm not sure what that was, but it made me miss young adult fiction, if that's any indicator. Like by the end of it, I was like, I miss the fun of young adult fiction, and this kind of lost me in the fun. There is a fair amount of like historical stuff because we're moving through a lineage that happens through periods of time. And again, I found the ending very unsatisfying, and I hate that. I hate that when the end is like unsatisfying. It felt like it ended too soon or not soon enough. Like it wasn't quite in the right place for me personally. But it was fun to read, and I really like the aesthetics of this book. It kind of has this almost parchment feel, and the pages are kind of like all uneven and stuff. That was really fun. My nose is so itchy always when I make videos. So I think that's it. I think I talked about all my things. Oh, one more book I just want to mention, which I have talked about before, and I read this in February, but it is Untold Tarot by Caitlin Matthews. This book is good. I've probably now I've well worn this book in because I read it cover to cover. I've highlighted the crap out of it, and I keep referencing it while I'm working with Marseille decks. It is super good. If anybody asks like my favorite Marseille deck or Marseille book to have worked with, this is definitely the one. I've recommended it to people in the Supportive Tarot Facebook group. I have talked about it a bunch on the channel, but this is super good. I actually thought when I saw this on other people's channels that it was going to be like a really thick, heavy, dense book. Not the case at all. It's very easy to read through. I found it quick and easy to read. Like it didn't feel overly like it was talking over my head or anything like that. Super fun to read. Loved it. Got so much good stuff out of it. Recommend for sure if you are looking for a deck for Marseille. So that, I think, my friends, is it. That is it for February and March favorites. I love favorites videos. So if you have made one, if you're gonna make one, if you post favorites on Instagram, anything like that, please feel free to hit me up, let me know where you're putting that stuff, or just mention down below if you've made a video or you plan to make a video, because I love watching them. They're one of my favorite things, and I'm really looking forward to the end of March so that I can watch lots of them. So keep me posted on that. I love it. If you don't make videos, it's totally fine. Let me know some of your favorite things down below. Favorite book you've read, favorite deck, anything like that. Cannot wait to see, and I will be talking to you guys all again in the next video. Remember to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, and if you want to book a reading, you can do that over at supportivetarot.com. Thanks guys, talk to you later, bye!